What's up? Welcome back to the W Sports Podcast, everyone. Jimothy, Tubby, we are back at it again because, believe it or not, we are a month into the college football season, and we are going to be breaking down some really key matchups, some storylines, upset alerts. We're also going to be looking at NFL Week 3. But Tubby, man, we are a month into the football season. This is wild.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. But a month in, we are finally getting some big time college football.
Let's go. And so let's jump right into it, Tubby. You say big time college football. What is the big matchups for this week and people need to be watching?
I mean, right off the bat, college game day in Norman. We got OU, Tennessee. Yeah. First Oklahoma game in the SEC against a vaunted Tennessee team. I mean, a team that experts think that Oklahoma has no shot to win this game. I think they might be a little wrong. I'm not saying Oklahoma's going to win, but I think the spread that they're giving Tennessee is quite a bit, especially one guy. I saw him say Tennessee was going to beat Oklahoma 42-12.
42-12. I don't know what expert is saying that, but I'm not buying that one. But what I will say, it's going to be an uphill battle. And a lot of people don't believe the Sooners have any shot at this, partly because, Jackson Arnold, freshman quarterback, they've really struggled at times to be consistent and have explosive plays. I mean, they really have not had a lot of explosive plays. But as long as Brent Venables believes a little bit and Danny Setzman believes, you got to have some belief somewhere. And it's going to be a fight at best, but got to have belief.
Let's just take a look real quick at what Tennessee's done. Oklahoma. Everyone was talking about they played NC State. NC State, was ranked or was ranked 24th or whatever. But honestly, NC State's not as good as we thought they were. They struggled week one against Coastal Carolina. They won 30-20. They just got absolutely just blown out by Tennessee. And then they turned around and played La Tech last week and had to bench Grayson McCaw and come back and win that game at home against Louisiana Tech. I don't think they're that good. And then the other teams that they played, Akron is statistically the worst team in college football right now.
Yeah, pretty bad.
You blow the doors off them. Akron lost to, what was it, St. Paul or something like that? St. Francis of Pennsylvania. They lost to St. Francis of Pennsylvania. Then they beat Chattanooga, who's not even a Division I team, or they are, and they're just not good. They haven't played anyone with the defense. All three teams that Oklahoma has played, their defenses are ranked higher than NC State, who is the highest that Tennessee has played, and they're ranked 70-something. So
some would say that's because OU's been the offense and Tennessee's been the offense in those games.
I'm saying that could be it, but also you got to look at Tulane. Look who they played. They played Kansas State. Almost beat Kansas State at Kansas State. Houston, they played UNLV. UNLV has one of the top offenses in college football. UNLV just went and beat number 19 Kansas in Lawrence. And then Temple, outside of Oklahoma, they have shut everyone down on defense. So I really just don't think that they have played anyone quite like Oklahoma. And Oklahoma's defense right now is ranked around 25th, 26th. And I honestly, I don't know if they've played anyone like us. And it's going to be the big deal is you've got Nico playing his first true road game in Norman at night. I believe it's going to be a ruckus crowd. I think Oklahoma fans are going to show up and they're going to be loud, and it's going to cause a lot of problems for him. I'm not saying Oklahoma wins. I think they have a really legit chance. I don't think that 13.5, 12.5, whatever the spread is. I don't think that's anywhere close to what the game will be. I think it's going to be a lot of a defensive battle, but honestly, I don't know if they try to say Tennessee is like, oh, we have one of the best defensive lines. You're ranked 105th in sacks. You're ranked 95th in tackles for loss. Oklahoma.
Yeah, they have not. Yeah, the defensive line pressure, they really haven't worked. Like you said, Oklahoma,
Yeah.
They have had a little bit more of that success, especially in 2 of the 3 games. Not really Houston, but I think that was why Houston wasn't as explosive. They were really had a game plan against stopping the defensive pass rush. I think it's a great point. When I look at that, it's going to be 95 tomorrow. Or not tomorrow. What is today? Today as we record, it's a Thursday, but when this game is played on Saturday, it's going to be hot in Oklahoma. So this could be a factor, especially some of those high tempo offenses.
Mhm.
I do think it's going to be a game. I'm going to say Tennessee's a slightly better team, but I do think it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
Yeah.
There's my body in the background. But I think that's a good matchup. The other matchup I really want to look at is USC. We talked about it in the offseason. We talked about it whenever Lincoln Riley went over
Yeah.
to the Big Ten. What is it going to look like to have those games? And yeah, you bet they are going to be playing in the big house against Alex Orji as the
Yeah.
what's it? I can't remember his last name if I'm saying it right, but they have that matchup, so that should be a good one. That is, I believe, right in the middle of the day, like a 2 o'clock
Yeah.
game, 2:30. So that's a
Mhm.
great matchup to have in the middle of your Saturday. There's not a whole lot of great games early on. There is the Illinois
Mhm.
versus Nebraska, obviously ranked matchup. Illinois has been
Yeah.
really good this year. Raiola, you've been very high on Tubby for
Yeah.
that and for Nebraska. So I think those are good matchups. But are there any big storylines that you have right now?
Uh, FSU Cal. You got a 3-0 Cal versus a 0-3 FSU. You got Cal
Yeah.
traveling across the country to try
Mhm.
to keep their 4-0, go 4-0 and see what happens with FSU. We talked about Mike Norvell, what he's done in keeping DJ, and then he comes out this week and says, "Oh, DJ gives us the best chance at winning right now." Which, I mean, yeah, does he? I mean, you haven't won
I
a
don't
game
know if
with
that's
him,
true.
so I think that's going to be an interesting game. What happens there? Can Cal travel across the country and go down to Tallahassee and I don't know if you really call it an upset, but take care of Florida State.
Yeah. Florida versus Mississippi State. I mean, both of these teams are absolutely
Jeez,
desperate for wins, and this is a game I don't want to watch. So if you
no,
if you are planning on watching this game, the over under is surprisingly at 58, which I thought was crazy. A little high for what I would have expected
yeah,
from the two teams, but that is another matchup that you could have. Two disappointing teams in the Big 12 to keep an eye on early games: Kansas and West Virginia. One of these two teams is going to start off the season 1-3.
yeah,
1-3. And both of these teams were picks for us to at least be competitive to win the Big 12. And it looks like they're going to get
yeah.
the foot way off on the wrong foot to start the game.
Mhm.
That was really a butchered sentence there. What do you think about Arch Manning? Is that a storyline that you're interested in? Or listen, ULM is not a big deal.
I mean, ULM shouldn't be a big deal. I mean, according to the players, they're not scared. They're not scared of Arch. We played him in high school. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
whatever. Yeah, I mean, we do have a former OU quarterback in this game. General
Mhm.
Booty is starting for ULM, so I'll be rooting for ULM. Let's go, General Booty, take out Texas. But I
Sure.
don't see it being anything. They should take care of them with these.
Yeah, General Booty is booty. He is terrible. He's. I think playing where he is at ULM is probably about right, and not a good game. But
No.
yeah, they should do this. I think it's funny to think that storyline wise, if he does really well, and then I think they play Mississippi State the next week before OU, he can
Mm-hmm.
be on a massive roll against some teams that aren't been great. And
Yeah.
then Quinn Ewers hopefully is back for Texas, and ideally. But I mean, how do you take out a Manning? How do you take out a Manning?
I mean, it, I think in a game against Oklahoma, you have to play experience.
Yeah.
I just, I, you will have what 2 games, maybe 2.5 games, depending on what happens, next week with Mississippi State. But you really want to throw him into a game against Oklahoma with your season right there because you turn around next week and you play Georgia.
Yeah. Good luck. Yeah, it'll be pretty tough. All right, so how about this? Are there any upsets this week that you're picturing?
Man,
It's not a good week for upsets. I'll put it that.
no, I didn't really take a look at like the upsets. Honestly, I wouldn't really have any right off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, even the games you think, well, maybe this is an upset, they really just aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Baylor over Colorado. Colorado's a 2 point favorite at home. There's
Yeah,
just not a whole lot of good ones outside. I think they're really the only upset that I think you really can look at as that's an upset, and it on paper I could make it work. Would be the Oklahoma game versus Tennessee. Everything else, it seems like
yeah.
it's going to be pretty chalk. Even the I think it's LSU. Who are they playing this week?
Oh, I
Uh,
can't remember.
yeah, I just looked at it and I lost it. But
Yeah,
in their game, I'm like, maybe they lose, but I still feel like they should be fine. I'm gonna be
yeah.
upset that I can't find this right now.
It's an ACC team, isn't it?
I thought so. I had it. I
It's
don't
not.
know. Yeah, it's UCLA. I'm like, that would be an
Okay.
upset,
Big
but
Ten.
I saw UCLA play. Ugh, gross.
Yeah.
That team
No.
is not good this year. So,
Mm-mm.
all right. Well, hey, any other storylines? Anything that you want to hit? for this college football week before we go to the NFL big storylines?
No, I think pretty much college football talk.
Okay, it's gonna get intense over the next couple of weeks, guys. I'm telling you, stick
Yeah, it
with the
is.
show. Week to week, we'll keep having these. So we got the NFL big storylines this weekend. We have a new quarterback in Carolina, and it's funny. Everyone's like, "No, we brought you in here specifically to fix Bryce Young." He's like, "Yeah, 2 weeks. I know I can't fix this. Give me Andy Dalton, please." And I can't believe we're at that thing. I think that's one of the big things that I want to say is a storyline this week is Brent benching after a year plus with a number one overall pick. And how good does Lovey Smith look for winning that game
Yeah,
and making sure Houston had CJ Stroud?
yeah. That whole thing just it irritates me because I get, with Canellis, this wasn't the guy that he, wasn't his quarterback or whatever. But the fact is that if you were wanting to bench Bryce Young, you should have done it last year at the beginning of the season and let Andy Dalton play. Let him learn behind Andy Dalton because you knew you weren't going to compete. You knew that you had no offensive weapons, no offensive line, and you really didn't do a whole lot to remedy that this year, especially the offensive line. And then you take the kid and you just bench him. And now you're like, especially after the game when Canales comes out and goes, "Oh yeah, no, he's our starter," and then the next day it's, "Oh, never mind, we benched him." Shoot, if I'm a team like the Rams, I'm calling up Carolina, I'm trading for Bryce Young, and I'm sitting him for a year or two and letting him sit behind Matthew Stafford. And once Stafford retires, Sean McVay now has his predecessor at quarterback.
As is, yeah. And I don't understand why that's not the play for more of these younger quarterbacks. I'm thankful we
Yeah,
talked about this with Drake May. Dude,
yeah,
sit this guy's at least
absolutely.
a year. Look what it's done for Jordan Love. Look
Yeah.
what it's done for Patrick Mahomes. Like you look at
Mm-hmm.
some of the really, really good quarterbacks. Even Lamar Jackson didn't start right off the bat, did he? I can't even remember.
No, no.
Yeah. So you wait. Let
Yeah,
these guys learn. Caleb Williams, generational talent, and then you
yeah,
look at this guy and the things that he struggles with are the things that you work out of the system when it's not real time stuff. He's making
yep.
decisions. First off, that can't protect him for anything, but he's
No.
making these decisions that are decisions you make in high school, and you
Mm-hmm.
can't do that in the NFL. You're not the best athlete anymore. You
No.
have to like use the new parameters and the speed, all that kind of stuff. So, um, yeah, sorry, that's just huge thing there. Any of the big matchups that you're looking forward to, and I'm gonna get out. We're recording this on a Thursday, and I can guarantee you it's not tonight's game.
No. No, definitely not tonight's game.
Not watching that.
uh,
That was
but
gross.
really, I think there's there's a few big games, but I think the biggest one is probably going to be the Ravens Cowboys. I mean,
Yeah, that's the one.
do do the Ravens start 0-3? Do the Cowboys start 1-2?
Hmm.
It it's a very interesting storyline because these are two teams that everyone tabbed as division favorites and conference championship caliber teams, maybe even a Super Bowl team. And the Ravens, and we're talking about a potential of one of them starting 0-3, and or potentially both of them starting 1-2.
Hmm. Yeah, I think incredible. Like that's the one I picked. So I'm gonna pick a different one for a different reason. It's going to be the Chargers for Steelers. If any, I don't do sports betting or anything like that, but the
Mm-hmm.
over under is 35.5. Slam the under. What are you even talking about? This game, if it was 10-7 final, I think none of us would be surprised.
No.
These are two teams that are going to try and own the clock for 40 minutes each in a 60-minute game. And we saw how little you can trust. I mean, you can trust Justin Herbert more, but why? Like, let the team run the ball, and they've got it. So I think that's a fun storyline to look at early on. And then the Texans, do they end the 2-0 streak of the Vikings with the injuries that they have, or do the Vikings make it to 3-0, which would be really crazy?
Yeah, no. Another interesting thing with the Chargers Steelers game is we don't even know if Justin Herbert's going to play. Herbert is
That's true.
questionable right now.
Yeah.
So it definitely slam the under if Justin Herbert doesn't play. But
Slam it.
but yeah, I don't think the Vikings have much of a shot. We'll see if Jefferson plays. It ended up not being a quad strain, ended up being a contusion, so less severe the potential that he can play. So at least gives him that weapon. But I think another interesting game is going to be the Eagles Saints. I mean, do
Hmm.
the Saints come out and go 3-0? The Eagles you
Yeah.
start 1-2.
Mhm.
I mean, we know the Eagles cannot stop the run. We've seen what Alvin Kamara has done the first couple weeks of the season.
On a
Boy,
tear.
we're talking about a potential of just a shocking start to the season. I mean, I don't think anyone tabbed the Saints to be, probably had a chance at being 3-0. Probably looked at it and go, oh yeah, they'll start 1-2, lose to the Cowboys and Eagles. But
Yeah.
Clint
I
Kubiak,
yeah, there you go. And it's weird. There's 2 Monday night games this week. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, they had this 6:30 and 7:15. So Bengals, Commanders, and then Bills, Jags.
Oh,
So
okay.
weird. And look at the Jags. I mean, they pay
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence all this money only to possibly start 0-3. This is a must-win game for them. And then
Mhm.
the Bills. I mean, if they can keep on rolling, they'll keep pace with the Chiefs, assuming the Chiefs beat the Falcons. But it's just there's a lot of really good matchups, but it's so early in the season to have a lot of pressure early on. I know you have the extra game to make up for it, but these
Yeah.
games weigh heavy towards the end of the year. You've got to make some plays here. So
Yeah. No, there's some good games, and there, like I said, there's a lot of interesting narratives going on because there's so many injuries right now. I
mhm,
mean, you look at the 49ers Rams game,
mhm.
Puka Cup out, and then now there's possibility for the 49ers. You know for sure you're not going to have CMC or Debo, but now it looks like Kittle may not play,
Mhm.
and so it just kind of the narratives of what's going on. Dolphins now without Tua. What do they do? Can Skylar Thompson at least keep them afloat if Tua's ever able to stay on the field? Come back or whatever. It's crazy the amount of injuries there is, or already early on. And high impact injuries.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Now, maybe you're playing fantasy football and you're like, what am I supposed to even do with all these injuries? It's insane. I don't have enough IR spots. I don't have bench spots to even
Yeah.
cover these. Thank goodness there are no bye weeks yet. Well, don't worry. The W Sports Podcast tomorrow, we're going to release an episode that actually goes over some sleepers, some guys that maybe you should be starting this upcoming week. So stick with us if you have not already. Be sure that you subscribe to the show because we appreciate every single one of y'all that hit subscribe. And next month in October, we're actually going to be beginning our giveaways once a month. So you'll be able to qualify for that, number one, by subscribing. So be sure that you subscribe to the show on YouTube or wherever it is that you download podcasts. We appreciate you guys. But till then, we'll see you all next time.
See ya.